Welcome to Strength for Sports Performance. I'm Alan Hedrick. In this DVD, our goal is to show you how to develop the type of strength that allows an athlete to maximize his or her sports performance. This is accomplished with functional strength training activities that match the movement pattern of the sport, speed of contraction, type of muscular contraction, and energy demands involved in the sport you play. The functional strength exercises in this program have been carefully selected to efficiently transfer the time and effort your athletes spend on strength training to improving their athletic performance. These 4 commonly used tests have been selected because they provide data that allow a coach or athlete to compare their results to athletes in their age group and specific sport. The squat is a single repetition maximum test, attempting to see how much the athlete can lift one time. This test can be repeated over time to evaluate increases in strength levels as the athletes progress through their training program. The bench press is also a single maximum repetition test. The goal of the test is to evaluate increases in strength levels over the training period. The vertical jump is a functional test of lower body power. In this test, the athlete is given 3 trials, attempting to achieve a maximal height with each subsequent jump. The mess ball standing chest throw is a functional test of upper body power. Get that ball way out here. The test is performed by performing 3 repetitions. That's better. Hips a little more effective. The goal of the test is to have the athlete throw further on each subsequent trial. That's better. A dynamic warm-up is important in preventing injuries and improving an athlete's performance. A 2-phased approach helps your athletes prepare properly for each strength training workout. In phase 1, athletes jog in a single file line playing follow the leader. The leader weaves around benches, slides laterally, or backpedals, combining a variety of movement patterns to recruit as much muscle mass as possible during the warm-up. In phase 2, athletes perform dynamic sport-specific flexibility movements. Recent research suggests that these types of dynamic movements are an effective lead-up to both training and athletic competition. We avoid using static stretching during the warm-up because it has the effect of reducing the athlete's strength and power levels. After each workout, have your athletes perform static stretching to cool down. Static stretches are effective at increasing range of motion, and at the end of the workout, a reduction in strength and power levels is not a concern. Static stretching involves lengthening specific muscles and stretching to a point of minor discomfort for 15 to 30 seconds. Not only is total body training essential in developing strength, power, and flexibility, it also helps improve overall motor skills of the athlete. In this section, we'll focus on using Olympic-style exercises with barbells and dumbbells. These exercises involve whole body movements and all of the major muscle groups of the body, similar to most athletic movements such as running, jumping, blocking, shooting, or hitting. Core strength is also an important part of total body training because it is a critical connection between the upper and lower body. We'll demonstrate a variety of trunk exercises to develop strength in the core. The Olympic lift, including the clean, very effective way to develop lower body power and speed, We like the athletes to emphasize performing each repetition as an individual explosive movement rather than performing them consecutively. So she'll explode up, drop the bar, reset, and explode when she's ready. We also like to emphasize performance of the Olympic-style exercises with dumbbells. Dumbbells require a little additional body control, stabilization, and balance, trying to focus on improving motor skills as long as getting stronger and more powerful at the same time. We can perform these dumbbell Olympic-style exercises both bilaterally and unilaterally. The unilateral movements require a little more coordination, again, focusing on development of motor skills. Another effective total body exercise to develop lower body power is a jerk. The athlete cleans it up that first repetition, sets herself, and then explosively jerks the bar overhead in one fluid movement. Emphasize a quick split, quick dip, and explosion through the hips. Be quick. Good. To emphasize training a variety of positions and to emphasize developing functional strength, we like to have our athletes perform split snatches rather than squat snatches. With a split position, the athlete is able to train a variety of positions, and especially with the emphasis on alternating the split position each repetition, so that we're training a variety of different positions rather than hitting that same position each time, developing functional strength. Developing functional core strength is critical to athletic performance. One very effective lower back exercise, back extensions, done with a dumbbell to supply an external resistance so that we can effectively work these lower back muscles. When developing core strength, it's important to emphasize rotational movements because so much of athletics is made up of twisting and rotating. On these bicycles, one thing that we really want to emphasize is getting to the elbow, to the outside of the thigh, to emphasize a rotation through the trunk area. An effective core strengthening exercise can be done with the mesa ball. Mesa balls can be used to perform a variety of trunk training exercises, including this mesa ball off-center twisting throw. An area of emphasis on this off-center throw is that the partners are offset from each other. The value of offsetting is that it forces each athlete to go through a greater range of motion. A couple points of emphasis: you want to keep the arms long, keep your eye on the ball the entire time, following through with each throw, getting that great rotation through the trunk. One area of emphasis for us when developing the trunk strength is to perform as many of the trunk exercises as possible from a standing position. Medicine ball wood chops are very effective at strengthening the trunk area and obviously in that standing position. We want to make sure we keep the arms long, all the movement occurring at the hip joint, no flexion occurring at the shoulder joint. The medicine ball staying directly over his head, taking the ball all the way to the floor with a very slight bend at the knee joint to take the stress off the low back. Another effective core exercise that can be performed with a medicine ball is the medicine ball lunge, twisting, throw, where the athlete's lunging out and then twisting and throwing that ball back to his partner. It's important that the athlete keep his arms long, keep his eye on the ball the entire time, emphasizing great rotation through the trunk area. Another slightly more advanced low back exercise, glute ham raises, again done with an external resistance. This exercise is extremely effective at working the low back into the glutes and the hamstrings. There's a series of functional standing trunk exercises that can be performed with similar type of equipment setup, starting with these bus drivers where we're emphasizing a long arm position, good rotation, so the bar is coming all the way across, touching the leg, really emphasizing rotation through the trunk. From there, we can go to two-handed bar twist where he's clasping his hands together. Same basic movement, arms long, good rotation, going through that full range of motion so the bar is touching the leg. And from there, we can go to a one-handed bar twist. Just a slight variation, maintaining that 90-degree angle at the elbow, rotating through the trunk, developing that functional core strength that's so critical to athletics. Functional lower body training consists of a variety of exercises performed from a standing position and includes squats, front squats, lunges, and straight leg deadlifts. These exercises transfer well to athletics because most sports are performed from a standing position, and increases in strength occur primarily in the training position. In terms of developing functional strength in the lower body, squats are probably the single most effective exercise there is. Done from a standing position, using a movement pattern seen in a lot of different athletic events. Want to really focus on good technique, making sure that the athlete gets to a parallel position. And what we're looking at there is get the hip joint and the knee joint level. Reaching back with the hips, keeping a good arch in the back. A slight variation of the squat is a front squat. Again, very effective at developing functional strength in the lower body. We really want to focus on good technique again. Looking here to keep the elbows high, which has the effect of keeping the back flat. Again, reaching back with the hips, taking it to that parallel position, keeping the knees behind the toes and the head up. Because the hamstring acts both to flex the knee joint and extend the hip, it's important to perform both leg curls and straight-legged deadlifts in your hamstring strengthening program. So on these straight-legged deadlifts, you want to keep a good arch in the back, the arms long, slight bend at the knee joint, keeping the bar tight to the body, taking it through a full comfortable range of motion. Another functional way to train the extension action of the hamstring on the hip is with the Romanian deadlift, a slight variation of the straight-legged deadlift, where we're putting a bigger emphasis on keeping the shoulders back, arching the chest. As a result, the range of motion will be reduced. Very effective at strengthening the lower back, the glutes, and the hamstrings. Because you get stronger in the positions you train in, and because as an athlete you have to make lateral movements, it's important to include lateral movements in your lower body training program. So on these lateral squat, the athlete is shifting her hips to one side, keeping her post leg straight with a bent knee behind the toe and a good arch in the back with the head up. When emphasizing functional training, you want to perform as many exercises as possible from an athletic standing position. A great lower body functional exercise is lunges, where the athlete takes a nice exaggerated stride length, keeping his front knee behind his toe, his back knee just short of touching the platform, and a good arch in the upper back with the head up. A slightly more advanced lateral exercise for the lower body, side lunges, where the athlete's actually stepping out to his full range of motion. Again, it's important that you keep the post leg straight, the bending knee behind the toe, arch in the back and the head up. During resistance training, you get stronger in the positions that you train in. So it's important that you train in a variety of positions rather than performing exercise where you get the same spot each time. Performing an arch lunge allows an athlete to train a variety of different positions rather than only getting stronger in one specific position. The athlete's able to train in a variety of movement patterns. Another good functional exercise for the lower body, especially for athletes who have to stop, change direction, backpedal, is a pivot lunge where the athlete's opening up to the side that they would be turning to, taking a nice deep lunge position with the back knee just short of touching the platform, the front knee directly over the toe. You're able to hit a variety of different positions rather than trying to attain the same spot each time. Although most sports, such as football, basketball, and soccer, are lower body dominated, upper body functional strength is needed for optimal athletic performance. Few, if any, sports activities involve single joint movements. Functional strength is best developed emphasizing free weight, multiple joint exercises. A great exercise to develop functional strength in the upper body is the bench press, developing that ability to push that's so critical in so many sports. In terms of technique, what we're looking at is to keep the elbows wide, have the bar touch at nipple line across the chest, coming back in just a little bit of an arc pattern at the top, controlling the movement on the way down, not bouncing, touching to the chest, and in full extension. Variation of the bench press is the incline press. Another great exercise to develop functional strength in the upper body for certain types of athletes, for example, an offensive lineman, a shot putter, more closely replicates what they're doing athletically. So you can really try to zero in on what the athlete is doing and make the adjustment from going from bench to incline depending on the needs of the athlete. Good, nice job. Another effective exercise for the upper back is a dumbbell row. What we're looking for in terms of position is have the knee directly underneath the hip, the back flat, and the head up. Want to initiate each repetition with a shrug at the shoulder, keeping the elbow tight, pulling the dumbbell to the outside of the rib cage, controlling the movement as you lower. The bent row is an effective exercise for the upper back, important not only for performance but injury prevention. So many athletes place an emphasis on developing the chest through bench press and incline press, developing a lot of strength here that we want to make sure to maintain that balance by strengthening the upper back, maintaining strength levels front to back, preventing shoulder injuries. Upright rows are another effective standing upper back exercise, placing a thumb width grip on the bar, emphasizing bar tight to the body, elbows above the wrists at the top, straight back, head up, controlling the movement as you lower. Pull the barbell to the chin each repetition. Continuing to place an emphasis on standing exercises over seated exercises, perform these standing plate raises, developing strength through the shoulder area from that standing functional position. Keeping the arms straight, taking the plate about 3/4 of the way up, no sway in the upper back. In this section, we will demonstrate 3 types of functional exercises using specialized equipment: truck tires, chains, and water-filled implements. This non-traditional training not only offers unique benefits for developing functional strength, but also adds variety to your athlete's workouts. Exercises using large truck or tractor tires can be substituted in the athlete's workouts on the days they are scheduled to perform dumbbell cleans. Don't substitute tire training for barbell cleans because the clean is so important to functional strength. The same movement pattern used in the hips and legs to perform the clean are used to flip the tire, emphasizing explosive movement throughout the lower body. The advantage of using chains in your strength workouts is that they provide a variable resistance to a free weight exercise. During a typical free weight exercise, the resistance is constant. However, by hanging chains on the bar, the load gradually increases as the bar is elevated off the platform because more and more links of the chain are lifted off the floor. Thus, as the athlete moves into a stronger position, such as the top of a squat or bench, training resistance is gradually increased by lifting more and more chain off the floor. Okay, here we go. Best one and finish. Training with water-filled equipment gives athletes an advantage because they train against an active resistance rather than a static resistance. Water provides an active resistance because the water moves within the implement the entire time the exercise is being performed. A typical machine or free weight involves a static resistance in the form of a weight stack, barbell, or dumbbell. During competition, athletes encounter active resistance in the form of an opponent or because of the need to control their own body weight. Water-filled implements may better prepare the athlete to meet these resistance demands than do traditional static resistance training methods. Thanks for watching Strength for Sports Performance. In Part 8 of this DVD, we have provided a sample strength training program that can be printed from computers with a DVD ROM drive. My approach in the sample strength program is to begin with less challenging, less complex activities early in the off-season training period. Then, as the in-season phase draws closer, more and more functional training is introduced to better prepare the athlete for the demands of competition. The goals of your training should be both to increase athletes' functional strength and power levels and make them more athletic. Good luck in your strength training for your sport. Head up, controlling the movement as you lower. Pull the barbell to the chin each repetition. Continuing to place an emphasis on standing exercises over seated exercises, perform these standing plate raises, developing strength through the shoulder area from that standing functional position. Keeping the arms straight, taking the plate about 3/4 of the way up, no sway in the upper back. In this section, we will demonstrate 3 types of functional exercises using specialized equipment: truck tires, chains, and water-filled implements. This non-traditional training not only offers unique benefits for developing functional strength, but also adds variety to your athlete's workouts. Exercises using large truck or tractor tires can be substituted in the athlete's workouts on the days they are scheduled to perform dumbbell cleans. Don't substitute tire training for barbell cleans because the clean is so important to functional strength. The same movement pattern used in the hips and legs to perform the clean are used to flip the tire, emphasizing explosive movement throughout the lower body. The advantage of using chains in your strength workouts is that they provide a variable resistance to a free weight exercise. During a typical free weight exercise, the resistance is constant. However, by hanging chains on the bar, the load gradually increases as the bar is elevated off the platform because more and more links of the chain are lifted off the floor. Thus, as the athlete moves into a stronger position, such as the top of a squat or bench, training resistance is gradually increased by lifting more and more chain off the floor. Okay, here we go. Best one, and finish. Training with water-filled equipment gives athletes an advantage because they train against an active resistance rather than a static resistance. Water provides an active resistance because the water moves within the implement the entire time the exercise is being performed. A typical machine or free weight involves a static resistance in the form of a weight stack, barbell, or dumbbell. During competition, athletes encounter active resistance in the form of an opponent or because of the need to control their own body weight. Water-filled implements may better prepare the athlete to meet these resistance demands than do traditional static resistance training methods. Thanks for watching Strength for Sports Performance. In Part 8 of this DVD, we have provided a sample strength training program that can be printed from computers with a DVD-ROM drive. My approach in the sample strength program is to begin with less challenging, less complex activities early in the off-season training period. Then, as the in-season phase draws closer, more and more functional training is introduced to better prepare the athlete for the demands of competition. The goals of your training should be both to increase athletes' functional strength and power levels and make them more athletic. Good luck in your strength training for your sport.